And Stephen Benoit Jericho here live from San Diego, California. First of all, I'd like to give a thank you to Mr. Will King for once again providing the catering for this afternoon's festivities. And yes, we had Rio come in with some of his constituents and actually check out the food and make sure there was no more magic dust sprinkled in what Will King provided today. But thanks again, Will King. I think that the cookies may have just been a one-off, but it's still kind of a funny joke to keep going. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back to the Hybrid Origins episode with Sander Cool. And yours truly, SBJ, was munching on some cookies. Never tried marijuana myself in my life. And the cookies that Will King provided may have had a little something in them, per se. But without further ado, let's get this YouTube show kicked off. It's up and running, folks, so if someone could jump on there right now and share it to the group for everybody else, I would appreciate it. Now, we are doing a top 15 per brand draft today, and you will also find out what the names of each of the brands are during this broadcast. Now, we're finding this stuff out together, folks. I don't know yet either. Along with the draft and the breakdown of the brands, we also have sprinkled in 4 matches of action for you all today, including a big number 1 contender match between 2 Townsend Enterprise members. So make sure you checked out. And speaking of Townsend, I think I have CFT live mic'd up. Are you there, CFT?
You know it.
There he goes. Can everyone hear CFT loud and clear? Peekaboo, Mike sees you. I see you too. At least I did. You're bouncing back and forth. And it looks like Eric Wolf is checking in. Welcome to the program, Rolf. James Seal. So let's get fired off, guys. And if you weren't involved in the top 15, don't worry about it. There are a lot of names that, at least in the beginning, we weren't sure who was going to be active. We tried to take the 30 most active guys and get them on a brand first. And our Rising Star champion, when you check in, Mad Dog, we just had to get you cleared. You couldn't be there in time to make the top 15, but you will get drafted for a show, and I will try to have all of those complete rosters probably by Saturday, if not Saturday, Sunday for you. And if you want to be active and your name is not on that, reach out to myself, reach out to Sergio, so we can get you assigned to a roster. But again, this is just the top 15. Those of you that have been drafted to one show or the other, it's for a reason, guys. There's storylines behind things. We wanted to draft the most active. We left certain names off the draft to see if we could drum up some chatter. So there is always a reason behind everything that good old SBJ does. And now Sergio is following right along greatly, coming up with some good stuff for us. So let's get the show kicked off, ladies and gentlemen.
They can never be. I'm doing they ain't never seen. My bag is some Billie Jean. I come with a strap every pair of jeans. Yeah.
I will say this. Okay, someone sooner might just be.
You're a little choppy there again, CFT. Kicking off the action tonight, we have a newcomer. This is our first look at prime time here in the hybrid wrestling universe.
And everyone look away.
CFT Primetime is a highly sought after prospect out of the New Breed Federation. I can't call him a prospect, but
so was
new to us.
What happened to him?
We fired the scouts that picked up Malin. We opt to not mention that name anymore. CFT, if you could be so kind. we're going to start fining you or suing you for mentioning that name, Mr. Townsend.
John Cox.
Make sure you guys all, looks like there's 6 on the Facebook live stream. We got another 7 or 8 on the YouTube stream. Make sure everyone takes a turn to pop in. Pound that like button for us for this draft special, folks. This is your draft. And this can be as great, as entertaining as you want it to be. And here he is, folks. DTM making his way back to the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance after his brief stint incarcerated for his part on the... Can I even talk about this, CFT? I'm not sure if I can even talk about the events that happened at the Capitol building.
Is a along in this right. ETM is a tell us sanitize our hands. This will pass. It's a bug. Stay inside. You'll be fine till we're trapped there for months.
You're breaking up a lot there, CFT. Pretty fitting artist for DTM's entrance here. A very controversial superstar DTM is, and Mr. McDonald himself, a very controversial artist. Both of them have very similar beliefs, and I believe that they are actually friends as well. DTM keeps a very interesting company in his personal life, from Tom McDonald to the former president, Donald Trump.
Exactly, former president.
Does the T in CFT stand for trash? I don't know. I believe it's Townsend, but DTM with a quick little suplex right there, dropping Prime Time on the back of his head. DTM wasting no time getting the action started. There's another quick German right there, dropping Prime Time on the back of his neck, trying to loosen the screws, if you will, early on in this one. Rio checking in. Welcome, Rio.
It's not that action.
Rio agrees that it's probably trash. And James Black, the Star Maker, checking in. Just saw you. Just all that money, and you can't buy a decent connection. I'll leave that one right there. Hired Gun checking in on the YouTube stream. Thank you. Looks like Donnell Brown checking in, and Sander Cool as well via Facebook Live. And again, guys, if any of you want to come on, during the show on the Facebook Live side of things, Donnell Brown, I know you're no stranger to the camera. Jump in here if you would. Indeed, Primetime lacking the offense a little bit, and he's eating some knee shots here. I think maybe a little draft day jitters possibly coming from Primetime maybe here. But then again, DTM, as I mentioned earlier on, DTM is probably one of the top, 10 in the... Oh, kicks a shot to the face. It looks like Primetime. Looks like he's got some blood coming from his mouth or nose there. Hard to get a good view from him. He's sort of on his side, but Primetime needs to get some offense going. Swings and misses there. Going for a chop on the DTM. Primetime up in the air, and the power bomb. DTM is just all over him here in the early goings of things. You're definitely sounding like a robot here. Now Primetime putting some offense together. A page turner there, dropping DTM on his back here. You're trying to maybe take some of the air out of the lungs of Damian Thomas Michaels. Primetime with a quick pin there, a 2 count, the first pin of the afternoon for Primetime rather. Maybe he was hoping he could catch him with a quick win out of the blue. It is indeed Black History Month. Here in the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance, we like to pride ourselves in having a very diverse roster. If you look up and down our roster, all walks of life, different countries, just all mixed in together. And titles are wide open. No one is being held back. The only thing that we don't do here is we try to keep the non-combatants out of the ring. We try to keep the general managers out of harm's way. We try to keep CFT out of harm's way. We try to keep the ladies and men separated. There's all kinds of weird things going on here where, oh, look at this power by Primetime, cutting me off in the middle of my speech. Primetime has DTM up over his head. DTM is, I believe, like 260, 270, and Primetime just gorilla pressed him from a dead man press, basically, up off the mat, rising him up over his head. Great power right there. There's Mad Dog, the Rising Star Champion. Thank you for checking in. All of you, make sure you pound that like button for us. Look at that. He just baited DTM in, called him in. DTM went for a strike. Very athletic maneuver there. Pretty flexible, this Primetime is. Dodged out of the harm's way, and now he is just all over DTM here. Looked like he took a couple moments before he figured his offense out, but now DTM is hurting in a huge clothesline. Lariat just upending DTM, landing him right on his face. Sinister Lucian Gage checking in. Welcome to the show. What a spinning neckbreaker by Primetime. Primetime sure started off slow here, folks, but he is definitely taking it to DTM now. Again, Primetime, one of the great talent that is coming in from that steady stream, that steady flow from the New Breed over there. If you don't know New Breed yet, check them out. That is a show run by MJ Jones. A lot of new guys, well, new to us, to our territories, such as the man you see here, Primetime, Rio, Hired Gun, Money Mike Mills. And there's just a large stream of them all joining our family of hybrid here, and part of this alliance of shows you see strewn all about the arena. 2 count from DTM, Primetime kicking out. Who do we have on the Facebook chat? Looks like we got Will King. Will King has a big match later on tonight. Welcome, Will. Hopefully you're stretched out, and thank you personally for providing the catering. And what's out of the blue here with a win? I didn't even see who won that match. I was looking down at the Facebook stream, and I totally missed it. I see Sander just gave me a spoiler here. Congratulations. Apparently DTM won that one. I'm looking down at the Facebook stream to see what's going on here, and then out of the blue, DTM picks up a win, but Primetime definitely showed his worth here, folks. Taking it to him. You see there, that finisher at the end, DTM had it locked in deep. It almost appeared that DTM had his chin wrapped around that bottom rung, helping to provide leverage. Have to look into that, folks. DTM definitely not one to shy away from cheating a little bit. And here's a breakdown for the East brand. And the East brand will now be known as Pandemonium, folks. And here is a look at the number 1 draft pick. We all know who this is. The number 1 overall draft pick is none other than the Star Maker, the world champion, the king of the ring, James Black, ladies and gentlemen. He's got the whole world in his hands tonight. The number 1 overall pick. Number 1 draft pick for the East Coast brand for Pandemonium is James Black. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to see your reactions on the group page. What you think about the number 1 overall draft pick. We see, looks like Money Mike says, who didn't see this coming? You know, when you have a star power like James Black, it's hard to outshine that. And let's take a look at the West brand. And the West is changing to the Uprising, folks. And here will be the number 1 draft pick for the West brand, or for the Uprising, and I don't know that music. Folks, it's the Iron Bison. Lee Jones is the number 1 draft pick for Uprising, and he is coming out here with Diana Grace. Definitely is. He's the champ and the king of the ring. No doubt referring to James Black. And this man, the Iron Bison, he's up next for the Hybrid Origins. Now, when the Iron Bison says that he wanted to sign a full-time contract with HWA, you cannot ignore that, folks. That's why he is the number 1 draft pick for Uprising. You absolutely have to look up Lee Jones, look up the Iron Bison, all his promo league battles. This guy is just phenomenal. And if he can give us 1 or 2 promos a week, folks, that is stuff that's going to just keep everyone entertained. Loving it. DTM checking in. Great matchup there. Good win over Primetime. And it looks like James Black and they're squaring off in the middle of the ring. A little tension here. Looks like we could have a fight, but not today, folks. Sergio's not letting that happen. All right, let's take a peek here. Numbers 2 through 5 for Pandemonium. The second draft for Pandemonium. That is the East Coast. We have DTM, Damian Thomas Michaels, who we just saw pick up a win over Primetime. Damian Thomas Michaels is the second draft pick overall for Pandemonium, folks. Coming in at number 3, the third pick for Pandemonium is the big man, Dennis Miles, who we saw manhandle Chris Harris just 1 week ago. Let's see what we've got here. Sinister Gage, not sure how you feel about so far, sir. Me and DTM, this is from Primetime. Me and DTM better not end up on the same show. And Money Mike Mills not impressed with the draft yet. Calling both of the picks trash so far. Let's see. Pick number 4 is Devil Dog. Devil Dog going to Pandemonium. Number 2, really, exactly. Number 2 overall, DTM. That's a pretty good spot to be picked at. And then rounding out the top 5 in East Coast Pandemonium would be the handsome one, Chris Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, numbers 1 through 5 for Pandemonium would be James Black, DTM, the big man, Dennis Miles, Devil Dog, and then the handsome Chris Harris. That is some star power right there, ladies and gentlemen. Pandemonium off to a huge start. Let that soak in. I want to hear what everyone has to say about those picks. And now we move on over to Uprising. Uprising's number 2 pick will be Will King, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait to hear what everyone has to say about Uprising's number 2 pick, Will King. What's going on here on Facebook Live? Looks like Mike O'Connor is checking in. And Mike O'Connor says that his cousin Nick Bruiser looking to join. And we've got someone here on the Facebook Live apparently wants to jump in. Mike O'Connor looking to join Facebook Live and come on live here with us. And let's take a look at the number 3 pick for Uprising. The number 3 pick for Uprising. It's the bad guy himself, Slick Rick, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully his manager, Gage Tompkins, is watching. Great pick right there. Mike, thank you for joining, sir.
It's been a very long time.
Hopefully those watching can hear Mike via the YouTube feed as well. Definitely woo Slick Rick.
I recently heard that Aaron O'Connor retired resigned from HWA.
He did indeed. He did indeed. Let's take a look at the next pick here real quick, Mike. And it looks like the next pick for Uprising will be the last villain alive, Rio, coming in. And he will be staying here in the West Coast, going to the Uprising brand. Congratulations, Rio. Rio coming over, one of that huge influx of talent from New Breed. Congratulations to the last villain alive, Rio.
So I just wanted to come out here and say that my boss Nick Bruiser, he doesn't wrestle anymore in XCW, and it's something that he misses a lot. So he asked me to reach out to you and ask you if a contract could be negotiated for Nick Bruiser.
That is definitely possible. I'd love to see it. So, make sure he contacts Sergio. I know he did have a part-time contract here with HWA briefly when he was brought over by Aaron. So we'd love to hear from him. Definitely have yourself or his lawyers get with Sergio, and I'm sure they can hash out a contract. And as you know, the major title for the West Coast show, that will be the world, or the heavyweight championship rather, will be up for grabs. So we will be looking for some big boppers to go after that one. Coming up next to Uprising. Uprising will be Max Steele voted in here, folks. The Golden Peacock rounding out the 5 picks. The first 5 picks going to Uprising. I can't wait to look back at what's going on the YouTube stream, because there is an awful lot of banter going on here, and I can't quite keep up with it. Mike, thank you for checking in. Ladies and gentlemen, if anyone else wants to come on live via Facebook Live, just let us know. And let's roll along here, folks. Take a look at those Final 2 through 5 before we get into the next match. DTM apparently not happy with who is picked for the West Coast Uprising show. Into some tag team action. Ladies and gentlemen, the tag brand, or tag division, as we all know, will be staying in the West Coast. So the tag division will be on Uprising. These 4 superstars right here in front of you now will all be part of the Uprising roster. This is Michael Carter, the big man, in there now, taking on Slade. Michael Carter and his tag team partner, Brandon Ace, make up Charm City. And Charm City, Carter there with a big boot to Slade's face. Slade and his partner on the outside, bottom right side of the screen, Lawrence, just picked up, just signing to HWA. So let's welcome those two. They don't have a tag team name per se put together just yet. Michael Carter going for a pin. Kicking out is Lawrence. Very interesting hairstyle to beard ratio this Lawrence has, and he just gets dropped on his back. Michael Carter just lifting him up and manhandling that guy. We've had 16 to 20 viewers at the same time going, folks. I glanced up and caught that corner of my eye. 16 to 20, I think 20 plus was the max we just had on at one time. That's pretty damn good, guys. Make sure you keep it up. And I love seeing the banter going on. I will definitely go back through and check out some of that. Looks like Sander Cool and James Black going back and forth. And I don't know, can I say Code Breaker? I don't know if I can say Code Breaker. This is a WWE-based show, but Brandon Ace there. We'll call it a lung blower. It looks like he got him in the chest. Lawrence squaring off with Brandon Ace. And now for those of you that are part of their tag team division here in Uprising. Now the tag division, you guys, since you take up roster spots each, some of you will be eligible to be in other singles divisions as well. There you go. That's why you're a champ, Mr. Mad Dog, and you know your moves inside and out, and I'm just an announcer. Never been in the ring like you have, so I appreciate the help out there with that move. You guys very creative with some of the moves that you do. Out of the blue, something I've never seen before happens still in this ring after 30 years of broadcasting. Definitely, Mike. Definitely great tag action so far. Carter tossing Lawrence over and just a quick shoulder block, just showing off the power advantage that Carter has here. The Crazy Gamer checking in. I appreciate the support. Make sure everyone hits that like button for us, ladies and gentlemen. 17 people watching right now, over 100 comments. Great job. And as I said, the more you guys interact via Facebook Live and especially on the YouTube stream and on our group pages, the more fun this becomes for everyone. It's great, everybody. I'm loving it, and that just helps motivate Sergio and I to keep going and keep trying to do more cool shit for you all. And Rio, that's a pretty impressive spot to land on, especially since a lot of people in these territories, you know, not really knowing the roster of New Breed very well yet. So, you New Breed guys, kind of keep in mind that not all of us, myself, Sergio, we don't know you guys as well as we know some of the others. So please make sure you don't take offense if you aren't drafted in the top 15. If you think you're drafted too low, that's part of the game, but go ahead and play on it. And Sergio, I see the warning. I apologize. Every once in a while, the excitement just takes over. I'll try to keep it in check. Stephanie Gonzalez, thank you for checking in. Make sure you hit that like button for us here. The HWA first ever live draft show. And Brandon Ace with a kick to the chest. A clothesline. Now Ace drops an elbow. The big man from the top rope dropping an elbow. What a flurry. This could be it. Slade is down. But no, Slade kicks out. I can't believe he kicked out after that. And neither can Brandon Ace. What great tag team combination right there by Charm City. Stephanie Gonzalez, if you want a spot in Hybrid Wrestling Alliance, make sure you look up Steven Benoit Jericho, and we will get you set up. You will be drafted into the East Coast brand. That will be the Pandemonium show where the women's roster will perform, unless you are an agent and you have a male superstar that you are an agent for. CFT showing absolute disrespect there for that young lady. Pretty typical. Mike Mills, I love it. You get out there and you give us hell. You make us regret. Anyone watching, if you're left off the draft, if you think you're drafted too low, make us regret it. We want you to make us regret us drafting you too low or feeling like you are overlooked. Blow the page up. Get in the ring. Show us what you got. Prove that you should have been drafted higher. That's all you got to do. The heights that you soar to is all on your own shoulders. If you want to make it to the top, you've got to make us know that you are there. You've got to put in the work. Looks like Max is checking in. Max checking in from XVPW. Not just the alternative, but the extreme alternative. Max, thank you for checking in. Make sure you jump over to the YouTube stream as well, which is going live too, and pound that like button for us. John Awesome checking in here. Well, I just have to say, have to charge HWA more on the contract, James. Okay. Brandon Ace bouncing. This is Slade in there now. We started off here with Carter and Slade, and now Brandon Ace and Slade. Looks like things are getting a little bit more personal. It started off as a highly skilled match in the ring between these four superstars, but now things are right out here in front of us, and they are using the whole surroundings as weapons, ladies and gentlemen. This went from being a highly skilled professional match to a basic street fight here right in front of us, live during the HWA draft, where these four competitors all going to Uprising. This could be the start of a nasty feud, the way that these two at least are going at it. And now Brandon Ace, a flurry of clotheslines, and then a single leg drop kick caught Slade right across the chops. Looks like Sergio and CFT going at it as well. Now again, Mad Dog, you were not overlooked at all. You know, after that match with Rio, where we saw the posting on your injuries, we wanted to make sure, you know, that you were okay before we drafted you. So just keep an eye out, and you could still be in the top 15. I don't know everyone yet. We are only at gone through the top 5 so far. So looks like Lawrence going for a pin on the big man and a 2 count as Carter kicks out. Yeah, I'm not sure either, Manny. I'm finding out where everyone is drafted to the same time as you. And Lawrence with a power bomb. Pop-up power bomb onto Carter. 2, the big man is down, and there's a 3. Christopher Lawrence and Slade making an impact here in their HWA debut by taking out the Charm City Kings. Great matchup. The Kings showing off extreme tag team ability. It looked like just the toughness of this new team of Slade and Lawrence. You know, maybe some dumb luck, but that big power bomb, and then Brandon Ace not able to get in the ring in time to break things up. Congratulations to Slade and Lawrence.
Here are your winners.
Eric Willie, thank you for checking in. Make sure you remember to go over to the YouTube feed as well, Eric, and pound that like button there. And now we go back to the draft, folks. Pandemonium side of things. The number 6 pick will be your former heavyweight champion or former world champion, Gorilla Cruz, as he heads over to Pandemonium. And, folks, he will be there with James Black. Now, that's going to turn out very interesting. He's on the show with James Black, Devil Dog, DTM. What a huge star-studded show the Pandemonium has going on right now. Mad Dog, we know you've been cleared finally, so please bear with us. We know you are absolutely cleared to get rolling, but we did not know before the board got together for their votings. Now, I don't know where you ended up. You know, you could be down further in the draft. You could be listed below the top 15. I'm not sure yet, but I do know that you had been cleared finally medically. I do have paper right here stating that you had been cleared. Sergio handed it down to me. And they, like Sergio said, great response there. Injury or not, fighting champion. You love to fight. Just like Sergio said, great response. Loving it. Now let's take a look at number 7 to Pandemonium, and it's Lance Hagen. And we will see Lance Hagen later tonight in tonight's main event matchup. Lance will be taking on his fellow Townsend Enterprise member, Aaron Wade, for that number 1 contender spot for James Black's world title. What we got going here, Sergio says, it's hard to follow. There's so much going on in the chat. High hopes for Lance. Sergio, exactly. CFT, free from clowns. Not sure who he's talking about there. Let's see, who do we have next? Coming in, the next pick will be Sander Cool. Sander Cool will be on Pandemonium. He will be over there joining his fiancée, Nora, on the Pandemonium show. Folks, if you've been following the page, there's been a little bit of attitude coming from Sander and Nora, concerned with what show they were going to end up on. But Sander Cool will be heading to the East Coast for the Pandemonium show, and he will join the roster with his future wife, Nora Cool. So great news for you, Sander. I hope finally you two have that load off your shoulder. I know you make that big announcement that you were going to accept wherever you went and just ride with it. That's a great attitude to have. I know you and Sergio didn't exactly see eye to eye on things, but after all that fuss for nothing, Sander, you're heading to the East Coast for the Pandemonium roster. Coming in next, joining, it looks like most of the members of Townsend all heading over to Pandemonium, Aaron Wade and Lance Hagen, and those two due to fight tonight for that number one contendership. I wonder what exactly this is going to mean for the future of CFT and the Townsend Enterprises. Slade is checking in on Facebook Live. Slade, make sure you jump over to the YouTube stream because that is where all the action is on the screen. And congratulations to you and Lawrence on your big win today in that tag match against Charm City. But again, Aaron Wade heading over to the East Coast to Pandemonium. And the number 10 pick is Ryan Steele joining his compadres over on Pandemonium. It looks like CFT and the Townsend Enterprises are taking over Pandemonium on the East Coast brand. What's going on here? Yes, Pandemonium is the A brand. Now he says FN Mark checking in here on behalf of the Prince of Chaos, Tyler Consiglio. FN Mark is Tyler Consiglio's manager. Sell all your properties on the West Coast. Clarence Townsend, exactly, because all the Townsend Enterprises will be on the East Coast for the Pandemonium show, at least at this point, unless he's got other clients that I don't know about yet. Take a look at those last picks, 6 through 10, ladies and gentlemen. Now moving over to the West Coast, pick number 6, Rock Leone Dickens, ladies and gentlemen, picked up heading to the Uprising. Great pick right there. Rock Leone, one of the pure faces of our territories, definitely can help combat some of this chaos that we've had going on lately. Great pick right there, Rock Leone. Now, Money Mike, I know you don't know who some of these guys are. You're new to our territories, but you'll learn who Rock Leone is very, very soon. Coming up next is the man with the iron fist, Caleb Shaw, a big bopper, the man that single-handedly, with one swing of his mighty tree trunk of a fist, just ended Malin Mania. Caleb Shaw is pick number 7, heading to the West Coast and Uprising. Also heading over to Uprising is Nova Bomb, Nova Reese, heading to Uprising. Now, Nova hasn't really been active very much yet here in HWA. Things are going to change. And for all these heel factions, if you will, now you've got to deal with Nova Reese and you've got to deal with Rock Leone. So hopefully with those two, we can get some of you hired guns and some of you goons sort of reined in check, ladies and gentlemen. Pick number 8. Or pick 9, rather. I can't count, apparently. The Scottish Warrior, Ian King, coming over to the West Coast to take part of the Uprising brand. Congratulations to Ian. We'll be seeing the Scottish Warrior taking on Will King here later tonight. And pick number 10 is the Dragon, Durgos. Very interesting there. Pick number 10. Durgos is usually a tag team specialist, but him being drafted here in the top 15, that means that he may not be ending up as part of the tag team division here. Very curious, because the West Coast Uprising will home the tag division, but seeing Durgos' name up there, that kind of makes me wonder, are we looking to have Durgos and Martrix go singles? Or maybe Martrix will bring Barnes Reed over from 3-Dub and tag with them, and maybe they'll have some sort of three-man tag. Very curious pick there, Durgos. What's going on here? Final take a look at that. There is 6 through 10 for you folks. And what's this? Yeah, okay. The official drop from the general manager, Sergio, the Rising Star champion. Apparently, he will not be top 15 eligible due to his physical. He had a knee injury in that match versus Rio. So we need to see. He has been cleared at this point, but just will not be drafted in the top 15. So we'll have to wait until probably tomorrow or by this weekend to see exactly where the Rising Star champion ends up. Now, the Rising Star title, that division, as we know, is on the West Coast, is on Uprising. So I don't know if that means that champion is going to stay on the West Coast and Uprising, which could be possible, which, it doesn't really affect the draft spot, maybe knowing that he's already the champion, so maybe meaning he's already going to stay on the West Coast. They didn't have to take a top 15 draft pick on him, possibly. Pretty interesting right there. Again, a couple questions could come up over that decision. Very interesting there. Durgos being picked for Uprising at 10 as a singles competitor. Rising Star champion, Rising Star title on the West Coast show. Not eligible for the top 15. Kind of interesting stuff right there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we just talked about Will King, the number 2 overall pick for Uprising, taking on Ian King, the Scottish Warrior, and these two will be joining each other on that West Coast Uprising roster. Now, if you looked at the page earlier today, the gentleman in the top left corner who came to the ring with Ian King, the Scottish Warrior, that is Jack Harvey. Jack is just here in HWA to support his friend Ian. Came as a guest, decided to go ringside with him today. He is a non-combatant. He is not signed to an HWA roster. Yeah, good stuff, Sander. I figured you'd be happy as soon as I saw your draft pick come up there, keeping you on the East Coast with Nora. Who's here because of you, CFT? Jack Harvey? Will King posturing to the crowd there a little bit. Seems like he's in there having fun. At this point, tossing the Scottish Warrior up onto that top rope, going for a quick pin. This is definitely too early. King's got an advantage here, but the Scottish Warrior, very tough veteran of our territories here. Definitely not going to go down that easy. And Mad Dog, perfect attitude. That's the type of stuff that we love to see. You know, if you play along and you work with us, that's how you earn push, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we are looking for. We want to have the players that are willing to take some of these twists and turns that Sergio and myself throw at you all, take them in stride, mold them, if you will, and then throw that shit right back in our face. And again, I swore again, Sergio, I apologize. Karen, back home, if you're watching, I apologize. A little bit of excitement going on here tonight at the first ever hybrid draft night. And look at the power of the Scottish Warrior pounding Will King down on his face right here in this beautiful artwork provided by John Awesome. And then dropping a big elbow to the lower back of Will King. He's back up on the top ropes again. Scottish Warrior looks like he's going for that stomp. Will King's back to his feet, though. Ian King thinks better of it and decides to climb down. No, nothing was going there. Saw Will King had his wits about him there. And now King, they're both on the apron, driving the face of the Scottish Warrior right into that apron here. Jack Harvey looking on. Didn't get involved there. Jack staying out of things as he promised. Sander Cool mic'd up with us right beside me as always in the blue suit, but Sander not on our channel tonight. He is speaking all in Dutch for the Dutch fans out there. We have a couple streams here. We've got our Canadian counterpart sitting here right in the middle, and then we have Sander Cool sitting at the far side. We have to have a Dutch or a Canadian-speaking specialist just because no one ever really knows what the heck those guys are saying. There's so many different twists and turns. They have the French Canadians and all the different little provinces. It's worse than a New Yorker and a Bostonian talking with someone from Alabama. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever been to Canada, but it gets kind of crazy up there. No offense, Mike O'Connor. I know you're there, and several others. It gets pretty crazy. We absolutely do hear the fans here, Sergio, sitting all around me. This place is absolutely pandemonium. Not to try to be funny there, but this place is going nuts. We have people with 3-Dub shirts on in the audience. We have New Breed fans in the audience. We've got, who else we got there? We've got XCW shirts. We've got 3WA shirts. And we got Will King picking up a win. Will King beats the Scottish Warrior, Ian King, in the battle of the two kings here. Will King with a huge kick you just saw right there. And Will King picks up a win. Welcome back to the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance, Will King. Indeed, a great match right there. Indeed, that's exactly right. The XCW part of their broadcast team is sitting here beside me, speaking Canadian, whatever language they have. But again, welcome back to the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance. Will King picking up a huge win here in his return. Now, Will King, the longest reigning HWA champion in history of the brand. And it is true, when Will King left, when we shut down, Will King still had the HWA West Coast title. So you bet that he is going to be one of those that is trying for that vacant West Coast or Uprising championship, which will be called the heavyweight title now here in Uprising. And the pick number 11 for Pandemonium will be KD, King Dominator. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of kings rolling around here tonight. I heard it so. Where is Awesome? John Awesome has a huge following here in HWA already. Pick number 12, and there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Martrix as pick number 12. That makes it official. The Resistance is on separate brands, folks. Durgos was picked earlier over to Uprising, and now Martrix is headed to the East Coast to Pandemonium. Now, Lucian, you are already going to Uprising, so you don't need to be drafted. You and your brother Damien are staying on Uprising in the tag division. You two have not been split up. So, tag guys, there is no need for you to worry about where you're drafted to. You are already coming, or already staying on the West Coast on the Uprising brand. Any of you tag team guys, unless in this case Resistance being split up. I don't know why. I'll have to maybe talk to Sergio more to see exactly why Resistance split up. I don't know if it was agreed on by the brothers Durgos and Martrix, or if they were sort of forced apart. But pretty interesting there. Martrix heading to the East Coast to Pandemonium. Pick number 13, also out of New Breed, is the Hired Gun. Ladies and gentlemen, Hired Gun, Mr. Dunn, headed to Pandemonium. Another one of these new influx of talent from New Breed, along with Primetime, who we saw earlier, and Rio, who was picked early on. Hired Gun headed to the East Coast brand, headed to Pandemonium. Good showing there from the New Breed guys. Definitely congratulations, Hired Gun. And now Logan Black. Another very interesting. Logan Black being picked up by Pandemonium. That means Logan and his father, James, are on the same brand. Could be interesting there, seeing father-son taking on each other in a match possibly in the future on Pandemonium. So many very interesting pickups here in this top 15 draft. Now, rounding out the top 15 for Pandemonium is Darkside, ladies and gentlemen. Darkside heading over to Pandemonium on the East Coast. And that is the top 15 for Pandemonium. Take a second to soak all that in. Pick numbers 11 through 15 head into Pandemonium on the East Coast show. Now back over pick number 11. Staying on the West Coast, the Uprising will be John Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, John Awesome on the West Coast show. The next pick, number 11, for Uprising. Pick number 12, Tyler Consiglio. We heard from his manager. Not sure if you're still there, but Mark, HK Mark, if you're still there, your client Tyler Consiglio staying here on the West Coast for the Uprising show. Also picked to head to the Uprising, Money Mike Mills. Now, Mike, we've seen a lot of you over in the YouTube feed. Great stuff there by you, Mike. And Mike Mills, Money Mike, who we actually saw beat Logan Black not long ago here in HWA. Mike Mills heading to Uprising. Congratulations, another superstar from the New Breed camp. Coming in after Mike Mills, pick number 14 for the Uprising is Reed Razor. Ladies and gentlemen, Reed Razor, pick number 14 for Uprising. Now, there's only one pick left here in this draft, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Mills, I don't know if he's happy to be on the brand with John Awesome or not. Kind of a curious comment that he's making there. Now, for those that didn't get drafted again, remember, that doesn't mean you're not on a show. It just means that you're not in the top 15 draft. And there are a lot of people, because there's been a huge influx of talent from all over the place, a lot of people we don't know very well. So, make sure you let Sergio, Ramiro, or myself, SBJ, know that you want to be picked up. And Destroyer, I know you weren't mentioned yet, but that doesn't mean that Destroyer isn't drafted to a show. Like I just said, folks, this is just the top 15, and we aren't very familiar with what Destroyer can do or who Destroyer is. So he will be drafted to a show, just not in this top 15. Let's see who the final pick of this top 15 draft will be. Taking an awful long time for this one to come across. Brandon Coleman! Ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to see Brandon Coleman here. I don't understand why Brandon Coleman was drafted in the top 15 or Sergio. I'm kind of questioning why you signed Brandon Coleman back to us. And Manny, I know you weren't picked in the top 15, but that doesn't mean you weren't drafted. Manny, don't worry about it. Brandon Coleman, the 15th overall pick for the Uprising show, the West Coast show. Exactly, Sander. Apparently, Brandon Coleman is back. For those of you that don't know Brandon Coleman, there was an incident where he was in a 2-on-1 handicap match, had to take on a couple former superstars here. And as a result of that match with Brandon Coleman, a superstar actually lost his life. Rest in peace. But Brandon clubbed him with the brass knuckles a few times as they were taking that superstar out of the arena. Brandon then jumped down, tipped the stretcher over, and then beat him more. Brandon Coleman was cleared of any murder charges, but still, folks, a viciousness like that, I don't really agree 100%, Sergio, with you signing that man. But I guess I don't make the rules. But that's it. The top 15 draft is over. And now here is the main event match of the night. This is the number one contender match between two Townsend Enterprises. Here is Aaron Wade. Guys, I know I don't have my normal coffee cup. I apologize, folks, just hearing the news. then I'm going to have to call matches for Brandon Coleman again, folks. I'm to be honest, I might have to do a little soul searching. I really don't know if I can keep doing my job with Brandon Coleman running around here, folks, to be honest. And yes, I will be calling the West Coast show. I will be calling Uprising matches, so it's a little bit shaken, to be honest. Excuse me. As you noticed, the music didn't change because these are both members of Townsend Enterprises. Seeing the name Brandon Coleman, folks, a lot of the wind just came out of my sails, to be honest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's not your fault. I will try to do my best to call this number one contender match and get back in it. But just knowing that Brandon Coleman could be somewhere in the arena right now, definitely not feeling very comfortable. But Alex Priest, thank you for checking in. Whew. Sorry about that. I thought I heard something behind me. You know when certain things happen and you get goosebumps, ladies and gentlemen, I legitimately have goosebumps on my arms and the back of my neck here, just knowing that Brandon Coleman is somewhere here or will be in the arena. James Black, champ, nice. Thank you for checking in. Deep breath. All right. All right, folks, let's go. Let's get back into it. We still got a show to finish up here, folks. We get a number one contender match to take care of, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Wade, Lance Hagen here, and Aaron Wade with a power bomb to the big man. Aaron Wade, we saw that power that he possesses in his match, his championship match against Gorilla Cruz, when he actually beat Gorilla Cruz, partial thanks to the man he is facing right now, Lance Hagen. So these two teamed up basically to beat Gorilla Cruz just to be thrown in a match against each other right here on draft day. I was wondering that, CFT. I was wondering who you were siding, and oh, what a shot to the gut. Lance Hagen had Aaron by the throat and just lifted him probably 5 feet off the ground with an uppercut into the gut. What's going on here? And here's Hired Gun! What is he doing? He clubs Aaron Wade! The match is over. There's no winner. Now Gun's going after Hagen. Hagen blocks it and he's fighting back. Hired Gun tried to take out this monster, Lance Hagen, but Hagen catches a chair and fights back. No finish to that one, folks. And here is a look back at pick number 2 through 5 of Pandemonium. As this one, it's a draw. This number one contender match, this Hired Gun guy comes out and interrupts and attacks both members of Townsend Enterprises with a chair. So now, do we not have a number one contender at this point for James Black's title? And yes, as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, both Manny Ortiz and Tyler Ace, the world's greatest lightweight, will be signing autographs later on 3 doors down from me. But again, here's a look. We know James Black, DTM, Dennis Miles, Devil Dog, then Chris Harris. That's the top 5 for Pandemonium. Six through 10 head into Pandemonium. As a recap, Gorilla Cruz, Lance Hagen, Sander Cool, Aaron Wade, and Ryan Steele all heading to the East Coast to the Pandemonium show. Very stacked roster over there, but folks, a lot of veterans of this territory. And here are the last of the final 15 heading to Pandemonium. King Dominator, Martrix, one half of the former Resistance tag team. Logan Black, Hired Gun, and Darkseid heading over to Pandemonium. And let's take a recap of the Uprising selections. We know the Iron Bison was pick number 1, followed up by Will King, Slick Rick, The Last Villain Alive, Rio, and the Golden Peacock, Max Steel. That's the top 5 for Uprising, staying here on the West Coast. Numbers 6 through 10, Rock Leone Dickens, Caleb Shaw, Nova Reese, the Scottish Warrior, and Durgos. 6 through 10 for the Uprising roster. And rounding out the top 15, staying on the West Coast for Uprising will be John Awesome, Tyler Consiglio, Money Mike Mills, Reed Razor, and yes, folks, believe it or not, Brandon Coleman is back in the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance. He's probably the most notorious villain that HWA has ever seen. He basically, he could be one of the key components in the downfall of the original Hybrid Wrestling Alliance show, folks. I'm going to end the Facebook live stream since most people have come to the YouTube side of things. But, folks, that is just the top 15 for each show. Now, we still need to release the rest. And yes, Uprising will feature the tag division. So, Sinister, you and your brother, Damien, are staying in the West Coast on Uprising. That's why you didn't need to be part of that draft. And the women's division will be exclusive to Pandemonium, folks. Now, you may see some of the female competitors, if they are managing, certain superstars that are in other brands, or if they are part of factions. And the same thing, if a CFT guy may be on the West Coast Uprising show, and he needs to be there to support a fellow Townsend Enterprise superstar, you may see him in the East Coast on Pandemonium, but they just do not have in-ring combatant contracts signed for the other brand. Let's see what's going on. Sergio Romero, apparently Uprising will debut next Thursday, Sergio says. So it looks like, at least at first, we are going to stagger brands. And I do have word here from Sergio that some weeks there may be opportunities for 2 shows to go per week. Says right here, each week will feature a main brand, and there may be a smaller show from the other brand, a house show, if you will. Some superstars in some matches in a house show for the off brand for that week. So adding more action there, getting more opportunities for everyone. That's what it's all about here in HWA. We did this roster split to try to separate some of this chaos, but to also, key folks, also get all of you more screen time. So, you won't have to wait as long for matches, especially where we're going to be having this sort of feature where there will be the featured brand for the week and then possibility of a house show. So keep that in mind, folks. So now, East Coast, once again, East Coast will be now referred to as Pandemonium. West Coast will be referred to as Uprising. And kind of cool little twist there, where a lot of Uprising's roster is this new influx of talent, like these new breed guys and things like that. So, maybe that's a little twist on there that Sergio planned out. But let's see, we got 240 or so comments. We still have 12 people watching. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still on there, what's everyone think of the draft today? Are you happy with where you are if you were chosen in this 30-man top 15 per show draft? What don't you like, Rio? Just curious, what part don't you like? And the commentator for Pandemonium, the commentator will be revealed to us shortly as well. Sergio, I don't know if you want to let everyone know who the commentator is, but it is not going to be SBJ for both shows. Should have been mic'd like a martini. Not exactly sure what you mean there by that reference, Rio. But J.K. Ross, I see that you're disappointed, but remember, that does not mean that your guys Ace, because Ace just barely signed with us. Manny, he's had a little issues. And keep in mind, too, folks, that here in Hybrid, we implement a trade system as well. So if there are folks that may not fit with a certain brand, if factions may have ended up in different places, so there will be some sort of inter-season trade possibilities going on to keep things even more interesting. So, if you're not happy with the brand you landed on, maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend is on another show, or your best friend or brother, like Durgos and Martrix, are on different shows. Just meaning new talent to our territories, not necessarily that you guys are new or young stars, anything like that. Just that you guys came all together from a territory that we didn't know much about yet. That's all I'm meaning by that. So our territories is, more made up, and we've all sort of been grouped together for a while. XCW, 3Dub, who else? CSWA, all these territories. So kind of a little interesting thing there. And Rio, not very pleased with that reference, but hey, it is what it is. So we'll see where that takes us. But definitely some quality talent there. Yeah, so don't worry, Rio. There's going to be other guys headed over to the opposite show. This is just the top 15. So there definitely, I know for sure that there are other new breed guys heading over to Pandemonium. They just weren't in this top 15. So we already know about that, Rio. I absolutely agree. It just happened that guys from New Breed, a couple of you were drafted together and OOC for a specific reason. But there will be other guys. It's still prime time. We don't know where he ended up. He could be over on the other show. So, yeah, everything is done for a reason. But, something that I picked up on kind of interesting is that a lot of these guys that have been in the hardcore division so far, like John Awesome, like Reed Razor, are on the brand that does not have the hardcore division in it. Kind of just keyed on that. The hardcore division is in Pandemonium. And a lot of these hardcore superstars stayed on the West Coast, the Uprising. And Brandon Coleman, definitely in that hardcore mold. So kind of a kind of a weird scenario there too. Calling it Uprising is the AEW equivalent. I guess I don't know if that's a good thing. Is that good or bad? I guess it depends on if you're an AEW fan or an NXT fan or what have you. I don't know if that's good or not there, John Awesome. Sander Cool, SBJ, your thoughts on me and Nora staying on the same brand. Now, Sander, I know how concerned you guys were, but to be truthful, I had no answer for you. Because at the time, I found out where everyone's going at the same time that you guys did. And I still don't know the rest of the roster breakdown. I don't know where everyone else is heading at this point. So, all I know are the 30 that were drafted to shows today. 15 per show. That's all that I know. But congratulations on getting drafted there to the East Coast show along with Nora and the women's division. Pretty cool for you guys. You don't have to worry about leaving New York, right? So that's a good thing. You don't have to move. Definitely a bonus. So anyone else not very happy with the draft with these top 15 as it is? And again, there's still the rest of the roster. There's still the rest of the roster that has to get drafted out. So, we don't know where Manny Ortiz is going to go. We don't know where Tyler Ace is going to go. Primetime, who we saw fight earlier, so all right, lady. Apparently I got to check my email, Sergio said, so I'm going to do that right here. Proposal for... All right, so the general manager, Sergio, sent me a proposal for the hardcore division. So let me take a look here and see. Sergio, I don't have an email from you, sir. Sorry, guys, I'm just checking my email. It looked like Sergio was going to send me something, but it appears that it hasn't come through yet. So whenever that email comes up, if Sergio wants me to release it live here, I will. But apparently he has a proposal for the hardcore division. Just brought up a little concern with that. So kind of interested to see what the general manager has to say. Ladies and gentlemen, just came down the line. Now, as far as I know, something like this has never happened before, folks, but Sergio just brought a proposal to me that they're trying to get taken care of, and it looks like... Now, we talked about the fact that we have a trade system set up, and you're used to seeing in the NFL or any other sport, player for player and money trade. But listen to this, folks. And this may be the first time it's ever happened in professional wrestling, period. But Sergio, he's a man that definitely wants to get things done. Now listen to this. Sergio just sent a proposal to trade a whole division. Sergio just proposed to trade the hardcore division from Pandemonium over to the East or to Uprising for the TV title division. Sergio just proposed to trade a whole division, swap from one show, one brand to the other on draft day. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of that? A whole division being traded on draft day from one brand to the other for one division to the other. I don't think I've ever heard of such a thing. Is that even legal? Can we even do that, Sergio? Folks, I don't even know if that's legal. Can you trade one division from one brand for another division from another brand? Can we even do that? I don't know, folks. This is absolutely crazy. Pandemonium, if you will. Again, it looks like they're going to trade a whole division from one brand to the other. That is absolutely crazy. I guess thinking of it, look at our roster in the West Coast. That's absolutely nuts. Most of the hardcore division guys are on Uprising, right? So, I guess that makes sense. And Sander Cool's the TV champion. So now Sander Cool's whole division goes with him with his belt. I was kind of curious. Sander promoted earlier, willing to give up his TV title to be drafted along with Nora to the East Coast show. And now it looks like Sergio make it so you don't have to. Interesting scenario right there, folks. That's kind of crazy groundbreaking stuff right there. Groundbreaking. I can't even talk anymore. This broadcast, we're an hour and a half in. We did the top 15 per brand. Found the names of the brands. Freaking Brandon Coleman, the Maniac, has been cleared of murder charges that were brought against him. And apparently is coming back to Hybrid. Now, we saw the show posted. If you guys want to check that out, I had mentioned on the page that because his charges were dropped, we could release that content again. So we played that episode, that Brandon Coleman, it was in the main event, a 2-on-1 match where Brandon beat both of them, and he actually ended up, I can't say he killed a man, but a man died as a result of that match. So that is up on the page from the archives. So I guess, Sander, what? That's exactly what I said. And, John Awesome, why not? Folks, if none of you have any more questions, we'll get ready to wrap this up. But what's Sander have to say? Wait a second. But that means Nora is staying on the East. And I'm going... No, Sander. The TV division is going to the East where you are already. That whole division title is being moved over. And now the hardcore title is coming over. It's basically like we're swapping titles, Sander. So now that the TV division will be in the East Coast where you are. Definitely wake up, Sander. Just see there's two general managers and they each have a title in their hand and then they just trade titles. That in a sense is what's going on here. So I've never heard of something like that happening. Sergio, huge move right away. Big draft today. Stay tuned, everyone else, to see where the rest of the pieces fall. Very curious, but remember, for those of you that are used to the shenanigans in HWA, pretty much everything happens for a reason. You get drafted in certain spots, there's got to be a reason behind it. Something happens during the show that you weren't expecting, there's got to be a reason behind it. So there's always something going on, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up. Great show tonight, great participation. I hope everyone had fun, excited. If out of character you didn't like where you were drafted, get over it. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. We did things like that for a reason, to mess with you, to see the reactions. So just play along, have fun with it. But that's it. Have a great night, everybody. Great show. Great program put together, Sergio. Thank you, everyone, for participating. It was awesome. Loved it. Make sure you hit that like button if you're still on here or if you're rewatching. Have a good night, everybody. Mad Dog. Have a good one.